Good afternoon and welcome to the June version of the Knoxville, Knox County Planning Commission meeting. I am John Huber. I'm the chair of the Planning Commission. I'll be conducting today's meeting. Assisting me today is the Executive Director of Knoxville, Knox County Planning, Amy Brooks, and Planning Commission Attorney, Tasha Blakely. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Mr. DeArmond, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hill is excused. Commissioner Browning?
Here.
Commissioner Levinson? Commissioner Boyer?
Here.
Commissioner Barger?
Here.
Commissioner Perez is excused. Commissioner Anderson?
Here.
Commissioner Butler?
Here.
Commissioner Biggs? Commissioner Daly is also excused. Commissioner Gill?
Here.
Commissioner Midas? Commissioner Shuck?
Here.
Commissioner Huber?
Here.
That's 11 present, sir.
Thank you, sir. All right. Now, a word about how discussion will take place. I hope all of you had the opportunity to review today's agenda package on the planning's website, knoxplanning.org. In addition to today's agenda, the website contains information on how today's meeting will be conducted, as well as the correspondence on individual cases. I will call each item on the agenda and read our staff's recommendation for that item. Once an item is called, the applicant or those in support of that application will be allowed to speak first. They will have a combined 5 minutes on the matter. The applicant may defer their right to speak first or speak first to the opposition if they so choose to. Likewise, anyone opposed to the opposition or opposed to the application will have a combined 5 minutes to speak on the matter. If either the applicant or the opposition wishes to have an opportunity for rebuttal, they will need to reserve any remaining time from their original 5 minutes allotted. Because of the number of items we have on our agenda today, groups in favor of or opposed to an item are asked to appoint a spokesperson to represent them. All speakers for or against should limit their remarks to the facts of the case and should avoid repeating information that has already been presented to the planning commissioners by previous speakers. The Planning Commission may grant additional time for presentation of information if they so choose. If you have any items that you would like to make part of the record, please submit those documents to knoxplanning.org/share or hand them to one of our staff members located on your left. Please identify the file number and meeting date in your submittal. Many of the items we will vote on today will require further action by either Knoxville City Council or Knox County Commission. For matters that are forwarded to City Council for final action, the applicant or their representatives should be present at the meeting at which the request will be considered. For matters forwarded to Knox County Commission for final action, the applicant or their representatives must be at the meeting the request will be considered. If the applicant does not attend that meeting, the case will at a minimum be postponed and can potentially be outright denied. All applicants will be notified of the city and county meeting dates. And if you have any questions regarding the meeting dates, please contact one of our planning staff. Today's meeting will be conducted in the order of the agenda. Please stand as you are able as Vice Chair Levinson leads us in the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. All right. Today will be a little bit different. Instead of jumping right into the agenda, we have one of our longtime commissioners who this will be her very last meeting, Commissioner Boyer. So we have a proclamation for Commissioner Boyer. I'd like to read it now. Knoxville, Knox County Planning has a long history of thoughtful, considerate direction provided by its volunteer planning commission, which was continued by the service of Commissioner Tamara Boyer. And whereas Tamara Boyer joined the Planning Commission in 2018, dedicated countless hours at working towards her goal to grow and preserve the beauty of the Knoxville area, And whereas Commissioner Boyer demonstrated fairness and integrity in her service, asking clarifying questions and carefully considering all points of view. And whereas Tamara's legal background has provided valuable expertise, helping to ensure thoughtful consideration of policy, progress, and long-term community impact. And whereas she will continue to serve the community through her involvement on multiple boards and in her role as an adjunct lecturer at the University of Tennessee's Haslam College of Business. Now and therefore be it resolved that Knoxville, Knox County Planning Commission and planning staff express their gratitude for Tamara Boyer's contributions to the community through good land use planning and dedicated public service. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, so we will move now directly into the automatic postponements. These do not need a vote. Item number 6, Ralph Smith, PLS. Item number 11, Berry Funeral Homes. Item number 18, LeMay and Associates will be automatically postponed. We now move to the automatic withdrawals. Item number 15, Walter Kenneth Seaman II will be withdrawn. Now we will move into the postponements. We have 30-day postponements requested from item number 19, Gulf Park, Inc., and item number 23, Alex Hamilton. Are there any other requests for postponements? 30 days.
Ben Mullins, 552 Main Street, here for the applicant on agenda number 12. We would like to postpone that for 30 days as well, give us a chance to take some of the comments we've received and keep working with the city and the community.
I think that is a wise decision. I appreciate you doing that. And there are a couple of people here, I believe, that were here to speak in opposition, just to make sure they understand that that is postponed. So let's see, Mr. Cadet and Ms. Ellett. Okay, so we're going to postpone until next month, so feel free to come back at that point. Thank you. Okay, so we have a request here for 30-day postponement on item 19, Gulf Park, item number 23, Alex Hamilton, and now item number 12, who's the applicant? Ryan Robinson. Chair will entertain a motion to postpone for 30 days. Second. We have a motion by Commissioner Barger, seconded by Commissioner Anderson. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. Okay, we have no 60-day postponements. We do have one 90-day postponement. Item number 26, Ian J. Are there any other requests for 60 or 90-day postponements? Seeing none, the chair will entertain a motion on the 90-day postponement. Second. Have a motion to approve the 90-day postponement for item number 26 by Commissioner Barger, seconded by Commissioner Anderson. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it. We do not have any withdrawals to vote on, no tablings. We will now move on to our consent list. Do we have any recusals from our consent list today? Seeing none, I will read the consent list. Item number 2, approval of June 11th, 2026 agenda. Item number 3, approval of May 14, 2026 minutes. Item number 8, VO Rotar. Item number 10, Amy Sherrill, Benefield Richter's Company. Item number 13, final plat of Morning Ridge Subdivision. Item number 14, final plat of Strawberry Valley. Item number 16, Parker Fegans. Item number 25, Brandon Gibson. Item number 28, 1222 Development LLC. Item number 29, Knox County Planning. Item number 31, Knoxville, Knox County Planning. Yes, let me, pardon me, with respect to the consent list, this list is composed of items marked with a C on your agenda. These items are considered non-controversial and are voted on all at once in order to save time. Items are listed in the order they appear on the agenda. Please listen carefully to the list I just read. Once an item is approved as part of that consent list, there will be no further discussion on it. After I read the list, I will pause and give the members of public an opportunity to remove anyone from that list. So from the list, is there any issues, any concerns? Anybody want to pull anything off of that consent list that I just read? Okay, seeing no requests for withdrawals, Chair will entertain a motion on the consent list. Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Barger, seconded by Commissioner Anderson, to approve the consent list as read. All in favor say aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it. All right, so we are moving on to our first agenda item. It's agenda item number 5, Viorel Vio Rotar. The location is on the north side of Valley View Drive, east of Sailor Court. It's 6.91 acres. The current zoning is RN, single family, hillside protection, and C over, it's a previously approved planned district. The requested zoning is RN5 with hillside protection and the previously approved planned district. Is the applicant present? Yes. Very good. If you could approach the podium. The staff recommendation is to approve RN5, General Residential Neighborhood Zoning District, because it is consistent with the adopted plans and surrounding development. If you could state your name and address for the record, please. Are you the applicant or
I am the applicant, yes.
Okay, so state your name and address for the record.
Viorel Rotar,
Okay, and your address? Where you live?
1505 Harrison Lane, Lenore City.
Very good, thank you. And we have 2 people in opposition, Ms. Gangon and Richard Hutchins. Are they here? Would you like to defer and let them speak first, or would you like to speak first?
I would let him speak first.
Very good, thank you much. Okay, if one of you could approach, whichever one wants to speak first. So, Ms. Gangon?
Yes.
Yes, if you could state your name and address for the record, please.
Okay, Tracy Gangone, 3221 Mountain Spring Way, Knoxville, 37917.
Very good. You'll have a combined, both of you together will have a combined 5 minutes, so you could say 2.5 minutes apiece if you'd like.
Okay, I'm speaking on behalf of Whittle Springs Park Condominiums. I'm a resident and owner, and I'm on the board of directors. We are a community of 50 unit owners, and we strongly object to the development, the rezoning of the property at 3223 Valley View. We have 3 primary reasons for our objection. First of all, it's going to cause the destruction of many mature trees and vegetation that is home to many animals and birds. Where are they going to go? Second concern is we have worked very hard to have a safe community. We have very little vandalism. You can leave Amazon boxes on the porch for days and nobody bothers them. People feel safe there. If our community is opened up to foot traffic from a neighboring multifamily development, it would be a great cut-through for kids to get to Whittle Springs Middle School. It would be a cut-through to get to Broadway. It would save them some time. Once our community is opened up to these strangers, who knows, it could create car vandalism, it could create a multitude of problems for us. Litter, who knows? And thirdly, and probably of most importance, is we have struggled with the water runoff in our community over the years. Our detention ponds are maxed out. We cannot take any more water. It'll cause flooding to our units. Whenever you change the terrain of a piece of property, you don't know what's going to happen with that excess water. Once the trees are reduced or eliminated, it could cause a multitude of problems for us. We don't carry flood insurance. We're not in a flood zone. But if this development were to flood our community, we're the ones holding the bag with the property damage. That's not acceptable to us. It's a 50-50 chance. Maybe it'll flood us, maybe it won't. What if it does? Look at the water damage done so quickly in the Newport area, in the Asheville area. Water is a very strong force. It could really hurt our units. You wouldn't recommend that for your community, so why should we have to suffer? We are owners, property owners. The people going up in that community will probably be renters. Don't turn your backs on us. to satisfy one developer. He'll walk away with money in his pockets, and we'll walk away, we'll be sitting there with damage to our units. There's plenty of affordable housing on Valley View, up and down that road. There's a ton of for rent signs. Why do we need more? The ones that are there now, they're not maintained. They're an eyesore and they create problems for our area. Why give us more of the same? We are probably the most well-maintained and best taken care of community on that road. Don't make it worse for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gangone. Mr. Hutchins. Hutchins, yes.
I have a petition too of
If you could pass it up. Yeah, just pass it up to the mic on your left, please. Thank you. Mr. Hutchins, if you could state your name and address for the record.
Richard Hutchins, 3215 Misty Hill Way, homeowner of one of those units. I'm going to make my comments brief. This is along with the concerns already expressed, is there's a belief in government that you won't own anything and you will like it. And I want you to give serious thought to your children and your grandchildren's future when we're always concerned about solving affordable housing by building multi-unit complexes. That is not the way to build personal wealth and stability. You are literally not solving the problem. The average apartment rental for a 700 square foot, one-bedroom apartment is over $1,350 a month. And if you wanted to buy a two-rent and have two people, it's somewhere between $1,550 and $2,000 for a two-bedroom. And they have no equity, they have no savings, they have no ability to build wealth for your children, your grandchildren. This is very important. I have children and grandchildren's future that solving affordable housing is not done by building apartments where they have no investment. Building more houses solves the housing problem. And I just want to thank you for your time. I hope you will give serious consideration that not everything in government is driven by which can give you the most property tax revenue. Because a lot of times, a lot of these developments is driven by thinking, well, we're going to build more property tax revenue from a multi-apartment complex, and we're going to put more pavement, more driveway access, lose all the ability to drain water, and then we end up with a huge problem. So I hope that you put yourself in our place and seriously deny this rezoning application. If this gentleman wants to invest in his property, let him build some homes. That would do more for our children and our grandchildren than anything else he could do. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Hutchins. Mr. Rotar, you have 5 minutes.
Yes, well, I wanted to thank the neighbors that raised their concern, and those are real concerns. However, as far as the first one, that sounded kind of the worst concern about the water drainage. Our property sits below the neighboring property, so there's no way this property where the runoff of water, it's gonna flood the townhomes on the left. In that regard, also, as of right now, we've got really good infrastructure, and we're not going to just come up with our own idea. There is going to be engineers involved who are going to design all those water runoffs. That's the biggest concern that I see there. As far as the trees goes, behind these townhomes, there is plenty of trees in the back, protected by hillside protection, so it'll be on our side as well. And we are intending to preserve as many possible trees, creating some buffer areas in between the neighboring properties with the trees, leaving natural. But that's, for future development, so that's kind of what I have to say on that.
Very good. Thank you for your comments. Ms. Busquet, I don't know where Kelsey's sitting today. Okay, sorry, thank you. You reviewed this file. Is there part of it that falls under the hillside and ridgetop?
Yes, so most of the property is within the hillside protection overlay.
Okay, so in the city, that is a requirement. So he will have to abide
Exactly.
by a certain amount of trees that he'll have to make sure he keeps in that, right?
Correct. There is a recommended disturbance budget they would have to work with.
Very good, very good. As far as the stormwater, yeah, I'm trying to look at the topography, but I see city engineering is here. Have you guys seen any information on this project yet?
Typically, at this phase, we don't see stormwater plans. However, looking at the contours, it looks like only about 1.4 acres currently flows to the neighbor site. The rest does not flow to the neighboring development. Also, with any development, once they hit the certain thresholds, they have to do detention, which reduces the amount of water flowing off the site to what it currently is. And even if it were a small development, they're not allowed to create new point discharges onto the neighbor's development.
Right, so you would require, the city of Knoxville would require some sort of directional berming or something like that to make sure that none of the water on his site would flow onto
Right.
the neighboring properties.
Right, we would work with his engineers during permitting to make sure that happens.
Okay, okay, very good. Very good. Well, Commission, does anybody have any questions or any other thoughts? Ms. Brooks? I'm sorry, Amy, go ahead.
I just want to address some of the neighbors' concerns. I know your development very well, actually. My best friend actually owned one of the houses on Valley View Drive that's right in front of your neighborhood. And she was living there probably about 20 years ago when your development was developed. And she hated it. You know, she felt probably exactly the way you felt. But it provided a really great opportunity for both of you to live there. And they're nice. It's a nice development, very easy. I think it's kind of a duplex type of environment. But anyway, what I'm saying is it's important to have a variety of houses, both multifamily, developments like yours, single family. And I think this location is a really great location, being right there on the bus line, being close to the schools. I think it'd be a great opportunity for families who maybe want to get into a house but can't afford a house right now. And so, anyway, I hope that you realize after this is developed, just like my friend realized, that it wasn't impactful, and it was good to a lot of families like yours who were able to move in and transition into that development. So, I don't know if anyone else has any. I'll make a motion, but I'll wait till Commissioner Gill talks.
Thank you, Commissioner Midas. Commissioner Gill.
Yes, thank you. I want to echo a little bit about what Commissioner Midas said. She covered some of the points that I was hoping to make, so I'll let her make the motion. But I did just want to point out as well, this is on the Knox plan, classified as MDR, which is, you know, supportive of the zoning that's being asked for in this case. In fact, it's an extension of another zone that's already there, that's already RN5. There's several RN5 developments in there. The Knox plan is what drives and what we are supposed to consider when we're making these rezoning considerations, and we can't put multifamily everywhere, so we have places that have been identified as part of public process as to where multifamily is supposed to be put in, and one of those is in an MDR zone for land use, and that's where this is. So because of that, I think that this is completely in line with what I'm looking to do, but in deference to Commissioner Midas, I'll let her make the motion.
Yeah, and I think it's important, as you mentioned, the one right behind it, just, I don't know if it was 30 or 60 days ago, we just recommended approval for that to go to RN5 on the other side of the ridge back there. So that's where that came from. But Commissioner Midas.
Sorry, I'll make a motion to approve the RN5 General Residential Neighborhood Zoning District because it is consistent with the adopted plans and surrounding development.
Okay, we have a motion to approve RN5 by Commissioner Midas, seconded by Commissioner Gill. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it. Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, we are now On to agenda item number 7. This is one report. It will require 2 motions. It's a subdivision concept report with a variance. So the subdivision is the Woods at Parkdale. W. Scott Williams and Associates is the applicant. It's 14 lots. It's a 14-lot subdivision. Is the applicant present?
Yes, he's here. I'm the developer that he's doing the work for, so I want to represent myself until I need to defer to him.
Very good. Mr. Worley, please state your name and address.
Ron Worley, 8015 Majors Road.
Okay, and there is opposition, I believe. Ms. Johnson?
Yes.
Would you like to defer, Mr. Worley, or would you want to go first?
Yes, I'd like to defer. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Hi, I don't know if you're allowed to interact with me when I'm up here. Are you allowed to interact or not so much?
Well, we can interact, but let me read the staff's recommendation real quick, and then
So
we'll let
sorry.
you speak. So the staff recommendation is to approve the variance required intersection separation to less than 300 feet from Woodbury Drive. That's on the variance. The staff recommendation on the concept plan is to approve the concept plan up to 14 lots, subject to the 7 listed conditions. So just wanted to make sure everybody understood what staff's recommendation was. And so Ms. Johnson,
Yes.
please.
Thank you. Oh,
Again, your name and address, please.
thank you. My name is Haley Johnson. I live at 1728 Uppingham Drive. I sound more nervous than I am, probably because I'm here with my toddler.
Right.
Wells, you need to come here. Stop. This is the stuff of nightmares. My first question is, when I look at the planning summary, it looks like Mr. Williams is both the developer and also the engineer who was approving some of the paperwork there. Is that correct, or was I misreading something?
Generally, the developer is the developer, and they hire a civil engineer. Sometimes the civil engineer makes the application, which might give you that impression, or sometimes the developer does. It looks to me like the civil engineer made the application for the developer in this one, so he is not the developer.
Okay. The signature is Mr. Williams' signature on some of the engineering paperwork.
That's right. He's just making the application for the
Okay.
developer.
Okay, well, that's really good to know, because my concern is a couple of things. Number one, I know they're looking for a variance on the allowance between some of the roads, right? There's supposed to be a 300 feet in between intersections there on Parkdale, and they're looking to reduce that by almost a third. Tennessee is number 1 in the country that's not true. Knoxville is number 1 in the state for traffic fatalities. I'm very concerned as a mother, I'm very concerned as a person about continuing to cut corners here when it comes to intersections on major roads. Stop. So that is a concern of mine. Also, I'm looking at the drainage plan there behind the hillside preserve. There's a storm drainage ditch planned. And see that detention pond. Thank you so much. It's the detention pond. I'm concerned about the grading there. It looks pretty deep. Looks like the kind of thing that's going to get clogged. I'd like to know more about what is coming here behind. You can see that dotted line. There's obviously a plan for water to run across from that detention pond. There's a house, if you kind of scroll around your map, I don't know if the map includes it, at the end of that, yes, right there. There's a house right there. I'm concerned about what's going to happen to this house. And this water running, if it runs, I'm worried about water staying in that detention pond, which looks pretty deep. Lots of questions about the traffic flow, lots of questions about that water. This is a site that's, you guys can look in the records. They've attempted to develop this over and over and over, and it hasn't been happening. I'm very interested in what it is about 2026, where all of a sudden this is developable land. And I would just love to hear more about that, really and truly. Thank you so much, and thank you for your patience and grace. We're a pro-life state.
You've
Thank
got your
you.
hands full for sure.
You should see my heart. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Worley, would you like to try to address any of the comments on the storm? Or we've got city engineering here as well, I'm sure he's going to
Sure.
find.
Of course, I can't give you a lot of technical answers, but I do know, just so she understands, that when we put the detention pond in, the design is so that after the development's done, there's no more water being discharged off the property than there is prior to the development. And so that's what the detention pond is there for. I don't know if that answers your question. I do know, unless I'm mistaken, a few years ago, this concept plan was approved, I think, for 20 lots. I may be mistaken, but I had some information from the seller that I believe said that. So I think we're trying to get it approved for less than it was approved a few years back. So I don't know if that answers your questions, but basically, we have to abide by all the rules and regulations of Knox County Engineering, the city of Knoxville, and make sure that all the drainage meets the requirements, as well as the intersections. And my understanding is we are asking for a variance that's less than the 300 feet, but the Pillow Road there is already established. And so the lesser of the evils is to line up the two roads so that it's a less hazardous situation. So,
Understood. Thank you very much. I do have a question for city engineering. With respect to the variance, have you had an opportunity to review the three reasonings that were submitted from the applicant regarding that variance, and you're comfortable with those?
Yes.
Okay, very good. So you had an opportunity. Can you explain a little bit about that? I think Mr. Worley had mentioned you guys tried to line up another road on the other side just to make sure the entrance was safer.
Right. So I think he's spot on that there's no real place on the site that met the intersection distance. And so rather than having kind of three intersections pretty close together, it's typically safer to line it up with a street directly across. And that's what they tried to do. They lined that entrance up with Pilio in order to reduce conflicts there and also maximize site distance for people leaving the site.
Very good. That makes sense. Would you mind touching on the stormwater again, just for her understanding of that?
Yeah, I could see where you'd get your impression based on these plans. These are pretty preliminary. It looks like a bowl with no outlet. However, during the design plan, they will put an outlet pipe on that pond that slowly releases the water, so it'll collect and then slowly release it. There is a proposed ditch to go down that south side to a sinkhole, which since it's partially on their site, they're allowed to discharge to. However, during their design, they have to make sure that they're not going to increase the water level on that sinkhole in high storm events. So the details haven't all been hammered out yet, but conceptually, they've discussed with engineering to see what their options were and given us a level of comfort to know that this layout won't change substantially when they start putting in those details.
So just to clarify again, so before you actually give Mr. Worley a permit, you will ensure that all that happens. Correct. And there's no any more discharge coming off of the property then?
Right. Typically at this point, we just make sure that they've allowed sufficient room to move forward and not change the layout. And then once they get to permitting, they give us calculations, they give us a full design, and we make sure that everything complies with city ordinances.
Very good. And Ms. Johnson, if you do have any questions on down the line, feel free to reach out to city engineering and inquire about that. I'm sure they can answer any direct questions you have. That is him, Mr. French over there. Thank you. Okay, does the commission have any questions? Chair will entertain a motion. We have two on this. Remember, there's a variance, approval of a variance, and then the concept plan.
Okay, I make a motion that we approve the variance to reduce the required intersection separation to less than 300 feet from Woodbury Drive.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Butler, seconded by Commissioner Biggs to approve the variance. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it.
And I'd like to make a motion to approve the concept plan for up to 14 lots subject to 7 conditions. Do I need to read those? Or?
No, just the stated 7 conditions, I believe. Okay, we have a motion to approve the concept plan for up to 14 lots subject to the 7 listed conditions by Commissioner Butler, seconded by Commissioner Biggs. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it. Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you for the approval.
Thank you. All right, we are on here. This was number 9. We are on to item number 9. This is a special use report in the city. The applicant is Michael Seamer. The approximate size of the tract is 0.71 acres. The zoning is RN2. The request is to convert an old church into an office use. Is the applicant present?
I am.
Very good. Let me read the staff recommendation real quick. Staff recommends that we approve the requested neighborhood non-residential reuse of a church for office space, subject to 5 conditions. And you are the applicant. Could you state your name and address for the record, please?
Mike Seamer, 2105 Jones Street.
And we have Mr. Patterson here who would like to oppose. Would you like to go first or go second?
Defer.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Patterson, if you could name your, or list your name and address for the record, please.
Hello, my name is Ryan Patterson. I'm at 513 Yarnell Street, which is directly across from this affected property.
Okay, you have 5 minutes.
Thank you for your work on this commission, and thank you for the opportunity to speak today. I live directly across the street from this property on Yarnell Avenue, and this is a special neighborhood. Single-family homes tucked into a quiet corner of Old Sevier community, and it's walkable to Market Square and to the urban wilderness. We love it there, and that's why I'm asking the commission to carefully consider what the rezoning would mean for the people who live on the street. I have 4 specific concerns. First, traffic volume. The application projects roughly 45 vehicle trips per day. To put that into perspective, the current congregation generates about 20 cars on Sunday morning and about another 20 on Sunday evening and about a dozen on Wednesday. So that means the proposal could bring more cars in a single day than the church brings during an entire week. That's a dramatic change for a quiet, walkable residential street within walking distance of South Knoxville Elementary School. A second concern is the scale and character of the 9 offices. I'm concerned that 9 offices will make it feel like an office park. Depending on their hours, particularly if tenants are operating evenings and weekends, residents would face constant traffic and activity throughout the day and into the night. We also don't know yet what types of businesses these would be, which raises questions about noise, odors, visual impact, and commercial dumpsters on the property. A third concern is the southward creep of special use and commercial zoning. To my knowledge, this would be the first permanent office building this far south of Boggs Avenue, deeper into the residential neighborhood than ever before. Offices and businesses in Old Sevier have historically been concentrated along Sevier Avenue. Approving this sets a precedent that could gradually erode the neighborhood's residential character. And finally, signage is a concern. I know there are restrictions on signage in city codes, but 9 tenants could require a sign large enough to significantly alter the streetscape. The church's current sign, small, unlit, black and white, fits into this neighborhood. A commercial directory sign would not. For all of these reasons, I respectfully request that this special use permit be denied. If it is to be approved, I ask that the commission impose specific conditions on traffic, capping the daily vehicle trips at a level consistent with the existing residential context, the number of offices. 9 is far too many to start. Beginning with 1 or 2 would allow the commission to assess real-world impact before expanding further. Hours of operation, restrict activity to standard business hours, no tenants present after 5 p.m., and on weekends to prevent this from feeling like a commercial corridor. And finally, on signage, requiring a height restriction, prohibiting illuminated or neon signage, and avoiding any new signage directly facing Yarnell Avenue. This residential neighborhood is a rare asset in Knoxville. Old Sevier community is experiencing strong demand from homeowners and reinvestment from home builders. It is worth protecting as a walkable, livable, residential neighborhood. I encourage the commission to protect that and deny this permit, or at a minimum, approve it with these meaningful restrictions. Thank you for your time and service on this commission and allowing me to share my perspectives.
Thank you, Mr. Patterson. Mr. Seamer.
Yeah.
Again, your name and address, please.
Mike Seamer, 2105 Jones Street. I think most of what his concerns are were pretty much covered under the staff report that can be seen online, and I pretty much concur with pretty much everything they said. He's lived there, I think, maybe 30, 40 days. Before he lived there, I think a lot of the church traffic was much higher than what he's quoting, so I don't know about, I don't know how many people will be in that office every day, but I think the staff recommendation is pretty on point, and I have nothing really more to add to it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Haig, where's Mr. Haig sitting today? There we go. Hey. Yeah, I see on your condition number 1 that the requirements include signage as well as some landscaping and exterior lighting. But can you talk a little bit about some of the other reasons you felt like it needed to be approved or should be approved?
So with regards to the signage, it would be limited to 1 monument sign and 1 attached sign per street frontage. And there are general requirements that signs in a residential district cannot be internally illuminated. They can be externally illuminated, but they cannot project onto abutting property. So there are limitations on the illumination, even though the number of signs could be increased from the existing 1 to up to 3 based on the street frontage.
Do you know, sorry to cut you off, but how big does that sign allow in R2?
There are limitations for that in Article 9.3. I have to look at that. But
Okay, just curious. So this one doesn't reach the level of triggering a traffic study or anything along that line?
it does not. Based on our estimate, there will be only 45 traffic, which is comparable to the existing charge use that has been in here since the 1980s. And I want to clarify that a new office building is not permitted in RN2 district. This is a conversion of an existing non-residential structure.
So is this this might be a question for the applicant. Is this mainly an internal renovation, or is there any external additions, or?
It's all internal.
Okay, so the exterior won't change. Okay. Very good.
So monument sign will be limited to 12 square feet and a maximum height of 3 feet. And wall signs are limited to a maximum sign area of 12 square feet, so about 3 by 4 feet.
Right. Okay. Very good. Thank you. All right. Commission, do you have any questions, comments, thoughts? Commissioner Browning.
Thank you, Chair Huber. Mr. Seamer, what question for you? What do you envision your tenants being in this office building? I mean, what?
Just like potential small businesses, students that need, flex space to study. I know Knoxville is really short on office space, so that's kind of why I got the idea for this. Or small businesses like maybe like a barber or something like that, a hairdresser, things like that.
Okay.
Where they can't afford like a big, commercial space for themselves. Maybe this will be a more affordable option.
Right. Mr. Patterson, I really respect your thoughts on wanting to keep it residential. I've lived in neighborhoods before where these types of developments have occurred, and really from a traffic standpoint, it can be better than if it was some kind of multifamily something, and it can also be a real addition to the general area to have access to flex space like that. So with saying that, I mean, unless there's any other comments.
Commissioner Biggs had a comment, but I don't know.
Yeah, I was going to speak in favor of the project as well, or the changed use, I should say. Just looking at the zoning map, this is a block away from existing industrial zoning. It is admittedly a block within the RN2 section, but it's not far from other commercial uses that are potentially of heavier kind of industrial use. So I think it's an appropriate use within the area. And I agree. I used to live in Nashville, across from a church that was converted into other uses, and it was a big asset to the community when it was kind of more activated and some other amenities were brought in. So just anecdotally, I've experienced the benefits of something like this.
Yeah, and my experience generally is the same, where office, especially small office uses like this, work well, close or in residential areas, because the traffic pattern is generally almost the opposite. Most people get up and go to work, they drive to work, they're not there all day. The office, folks come in during the day and then they leave and go home at night when you come home. So they tend to work well together. So I would tend to be supportive of that as well, if Commissioner Browning wanted to take it.
Yeah, I'd like to make it.
Can I ask a question first?
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you over there, Commissioner Anderson. Apologies.
Just out of curiosity, we're approving this for non-residential use, not necessarily office use? Is that fair?
Samil?
The request is specifically for offices, so in a non-residential reuse, there is a list of approved use you can request for. The applicant is specifically requesting for office uses.
Okay, so he mentioned like hair cutting stuff. I just want to make sure everybody's on the same page. That wouldn't be allowed?
That is correct. So personal service establishment can be considered under non-residential reuse, but it has not been requested. So if the applicant wants that, it needs to be approved with this approval.
So question for the applicant, are you okay with that?
What exactly you're asking? I'm sorry.
So you mentioned one of the potential uses would be like a hair salon or something, or a barber.
Okay.
That would not be allowed based upon what we're approving.
Okay.
Is that okay?
That's okay. I'll try to get clarification from the planning to see what is or is not allowed in those offices.
And I think to be clear about it, you could request that. It just has to be a different request.
Okay, so can that be requested today, or that's a
No,
different
it'll
meeting?
have to go
Okay,
through review.
That's no problem. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Great.
Appreciate
Thank you.
it.
Thank you for clarifying, Commissioner Anderson.
So that was just,
Very good. Thank you. Back to Commissioner Browning.
All right, I'll make the motion to approve the requested neighborhood non-residential reuse of a church for office spaces, subject to the 5 conditions.
All right, we have a motion to approve the non-residential reuse of the church by Commissioner Browning and seconded by Commissioner Barger. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it. Thank you. And item number 12 got postponed 30 days, as discussed earlier. And now we are on to item number 17. This is a rezoning report, so it'll be one motion. The applicant is James Jenkins. The location is on the south side of Pine Grove Road, south of Amber Vista Lane. It's 7.24 acres. Current zoning is agricultural. Requested zoning is planned residential up to 9 dwelling units per acre. Staff recommendation is to approve planned residential, but only up to 4 dwelling units an acre because it is consistent with the comprehensive plan subject to 2 conditions. Is the applicant present?
Mr. Hubert, John Valiant here on behalf of Mr. James Jenkins. My name is John Valiant. I am at 606 West Main Street, Knoxville, Tennessee, 37902. I have, since our last meeting, we originally postponed we had a 30-day postponement. Since that postponement, we have done a significant amount of work and research. We've talked with people in the community, and so we have some packets that, with your permission, I can provide a copy to each of the commissioners, kind of discussing our rationale.
I think that'd be great if you could start handing those out. There is some opposition here. Corey Schubert, are you still here? Great. Now, Mr. Valiant, would you want to defer, or do you want to keep going?
I would happily defer. And while Ms.
You can hand
Schubert-
out the packets while.
Yeah, I can hand out the packets while Ms. Schubert does her.
That'd be great. Thank you. If you could come on down, Ms. Schubert.
How would you prefer I?
You can just hand them to Mike on the end here, and he'll hand them down.
And I apologize. I think I only have 17 copies. I tried to produce.
We've only got 11 commissioners here today anyway, so you're good.
He very well with these packets may answer or, curb the.
I hope so. I hope so.
The things that I'm going to bring to the table.
And if we have one extra one, I'd love it if Ms. Schubert could have one. Yeah, just state your name and address for the record, please.
So my name's Corey Schubert. I reside at 6904 Pine Grove Road, and I'm directly south of the property that they're wanting to rezone.
Very good. And just go right ahead. You've got 5 minutes to speak.
Sure. So I did speak 30 days ago, even though we deferred. We waited and deferred through the agenda. But again, the 2 main concerns that myself and some of the other residents who have properties abutting this property have are flooding is our main concern. Thanks. And the watershed posted is, I believe, Swan Pond Creek. And this particular watershed crosses, in moderate, even rain events, actually crosses Pine Grove Road. And so if proper excavation isn't done, water flows to that area, and it becomes even more cumbersome than it already is. I'm just worried that I'm not going to be able to get to my house. It's my big concern. I would love to see some of the mature trees and things like that on the property left, but I believe last time they mentioned that is something that they're wanting to do. But with 9 dwelling units per acre, I don't think that would be possible. I know that the recommendations are to bring that down to 4, and that I think would be much more reasonable and would keep with kind of the charm, I guess, of this community, because it is a lot of agriculture still. They have done some provisions further up Pine Grove, closer to Strawberry Plains, right there where you see RN1, all of that area. The subdivision that is higher has actually had to do a lot of their own work to keep the lower subdivision from flooding. And in speaking with some individuals who are more knowledgeable in that than I am, they did mention that looking to see if water flow from this property could actually not damage, but could make what they've done not work. So it could potentially even bring flooding on the far side of Swan Pond Creek, not just across Pine Grove Road as well. I did see that in the report you had mentioned leaving a buffer of 35 feet. If there was any way to increase that or leave more mature trees within the property and have that as part of the rezoning, that would be amazing, because I do think it would help with the drainage and erosion and different things like that. Also, infrastructure was an issue that I wanted to bring to the table. The residents of Pine Grove use it for multiple things. You know, we walk, we let our kids ride bikes, we walk our pets and things like that. And even at 4 dwelling units per acre, you're looking at an increase of 679 more vehicle trips per day. And those are your all's numbers. That's crazy to me to think that many more cars could be going up and down Pine Grove. It would make it treacherous. There's blind drives, blind hills. They even put the state patrol, highway patrol down at the end of Pine Grove closer to Strawberry Plains. And you can ask some of those officers. We've had to slam on brakes at times to keep from hitting each other. And that's even with maintaining the speed that's posted on the road. So adding that many more vehicles without widening Pine Grove, at least from this property to Strawberry Plains Pike, it would make it difficult in high traffic times to get in and out reasonably safely. So that's all I wanted to bring to the table today.
Well, thank you for your comments. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Mr. Valiant, we have these nice thick packets that you gave to us.
Well, I hope that's not too long. My apologies, as I guess some of you may know. I know anytime you ask an attorney to do anything brief, that this is about as brief as it gets, and so that's a problem that I need to solve on my own time, and I won't trouble you with that today. What the packet you have before you all, we've taken Ms. Schubert's comments into consideration in our response, and I think we've got quite a lengthy document here, and I'm just going to hit the high points. I'm just going to go through and try and make it as easy as possible. First of all, you guys have a one-pager of our argument on the very front, okay, kind of just a synopsis. I'm happy to flesh out any of those points if you guys have questions or thoughts about those. The second page, 2 pages, are photographs, albeit low-resolution photographs, photographs of the exact types of units that we'd be looking to build on this property. These are 2-bedroom, 2-bath homes, and these fall within kind of the range of the mid-200,000s in terms of price point. The reason I bring that information before you all is because I know that there is an affordable housing crisis right now in Knoxville. I know that a lot of our residents are having issues finding affordable housing. Unfortunately, month by month, year by year, the housing continues to increase in price, and so any more finding homes within that price range, very difficult, next to impossible in my opinion. Now, the next 70 pages are exhibits, really just kind of documentation from the growth plan that you all have that's going into effect. I guess broadly our position on this, infrastructure, we've been out there to the property. We recognize that infrastructure is a problem on this road. I think the difficult thing for us is that there are two developments, one that was developed, I think, just right down the street. I think you can see it in the bottom right of the photograph here that you all are looking at, and then the one right across the street. Those were approved at, I think, 4 and 5 units an acre, although I think the final density came in at maybe roughly 3.5, maybe 4.5 units an acre after everything was said and done. Those were approved without conditions. Those were approved without the condition of road widening. Now, additionally, I think the difficult thing here is that's a half a mile of road. Widening that road and putting that on the developer is something that he'd be willing to do, but I think the issue is planning staff's comments have addressed the infrastructure issue and have talked about these traffic patterns, but have ceded that widening the road would actually kind of fix that altogether. And so it's my position that really, under the circumstances, we would be compliant with the future designation. So at some point, this is going to be, as a part of the future zoning plan, this is going to switch over to an SR zoning designation. And I believe that it would be eligible for a much higher density. We're not trying to be greedy here, though. We're not trying to go for the maximum density. And so to address some of the comments, I think one issue is this corridor has approved this density before. I believe there is a subdivision, and I've included some of that information in my packet. You will find a table of contents on the 3rd page behind the pictures, but there is a subdivision that was approved at 11 units an acre that is quite literally less than a mile from here. We have commercial zoning that is half a mile away. As Ms. Schubert pointed out, the State Highway Patrol Office is less than a half a mile away from this subdivision. I think if we go about the infrastructure improvement, we would be in a good position to move forward with 9 units an acre. I think additionally, I think the stormwater issues that Ms. Schubert pointed out, we absolutely are planning on working with engineering, and I think all of the requirements that they would put in place for us to do a development like this, I think would be more than reasonable, and we'd be more than willing to comply with. Really lastly, I think as a part of the comprehensive plan, the future plan, Knoxville needs housing for 105,000 more residents by 2045. The individuals here today in this room have housing in Knoxville. The influx of residents on their way in do not have housing. We're here hoping to address part of that concern. Additionally, I think this is going to provide a great deal of tax revenue for the area. And I think that's an important factor to take into consideration as a part of this. Really, we're not trying to depart from the character of the area. We really want to stay consistent with the character of the area. We're not looking to create problems or an eyesore. This is going in that direction anyways. It's been zoned as a part of the urban growth boundary. So I think the city and the county have recognized that this parcel is eligible for greater growth and greater opportunities. We're just talking about exactly how much. The corridor says higher density work. Staff's own report says that the road condition resolves the traffic concern. Subdivision regulations would say that the stormwater and drainage are already required, and we're happy to meet all the development conditions that would allow us to get to 9 units an acre. And I apologize, I know I've exceeded my 5 minutes. But thank you guys for your time today. Thank you for hearing me out, and I appreciate any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Valiant. All right, yeah, so it seems to me the big issues are going to be the road and the density and drainage. Those are the big ones. So I'd say 2 out of those 3 fall in engineering over here. So I'd reach out to Steve Elliott and Mr. Snowden. Have you got any comments on the road? How wide exactly is it down through there?
Currently, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Currently, we believe that I think the road has, at its narrowest point, I believe is maybe 17 feet wide, and at its widest point, I think might be 21 feet wide. And I'll tell you, I think that's based off, I've gone down and I've measured it in a couple of places myself. I know Mr. Snowden has done the same at some point. So I know that that is an issue that we would need to address. And I think we're happy to do so. I also understand that as a part of addressing that, it's going to be difficult because the financial proposition of repaving and widening a half a mile of street, keeping in mind the utilities and everything else that perhaps could be potentially disturbed as a part of that process. I do understand that's, there's a cost, there's a price tag associated with that. And I did not bring this up a second ago, and I'm sorry. Ms. Schubert's comments on green areas, we do want to incorporate an area of this parcel to be dedicated to green space. And I think really with the composition of the property, I don't think that there's really a way we could do the green space except for doing it in a way where we're maintaining a lot of that tree frontage on the back of the lot, which is not currently up on the screen. The topography of the lot towards the back does get a little bit difficult, really not ripe for development. From that standpoint, I think there would have to be a little bit more than we'd be able to do.
Okay, good. Thank you, Mr. Valiant. I'll still bounce it over to Director Snowden to talk about the road width.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. Yeah, Mr. Valiant's right. This road is very variable in width. It does have spots that are as narrow as 17, and it has some that are over 20. The challenge with this particular road, and Ms. Schubert mentioned it is kind of rolling. If this was a straight road, it had really good shoulders, that 17, 18 foot would probably be suitable. However, in this case, there are some areas that the hills there do, not give you really good lines of sight, so that extra little bit of width would be very beneficial, and me and Mr. Valiant have talked about that. Really, we would like to see, the county engineering department would like to see 20 foot consistently. That way we can maintain that 10-foot lane, which is really kind of the minimum for the roadways that we would like to see at this location from the parcel, the half mile to the east that Mr. Valiant talked about, to Straw Plains. So it does have some challenges, especially with sight lines.
So do we know if that parcel has sight distance now?
It does. It sits kind of in a valley. So when I was out there, I believe they could achieve sight distance at a location on their frontage.
Would you guys mind touching on the water drainage in that area too? Ms. Schubert indicated that it might flood the road and that. Have you guys seen any of that?
It's not, I'm sure there may be times where it does get over. It's nothing that we have, we don't close the road, frequently or whatever. It's probably one of those locations where water does get over it and it quickly subsides, but we don't have a known history of flooding at that location.
Very good. Thank you. Very good. Okay. All right. Commission, do you have comments or questions? I see Commissioner Anderson's light.
Question, Mr. Valiant, so I'm just trying to, so you're asking for, are you saying you would take on the road improvements if you had the 9 density units, dwelling units per acre, or?
That's correct. I think, I've talked to Mr. Snowden about that a little bit, and I think that we would probably be bearing the cost, and I think the county would be bearing the actual, under those circumstances, I think they would be in charge of the infrastructure, and I think that would probably be the appropriate way to handle it anyways. I've worked with agencies like this and government entities like this in the past, and I know it's much better to just let them handle it.
Right. So I guess my thinking, and I'd like to hear from others, but so across the street, there's 27, looks like there's 27 lots. And that was a 2023 approval, and I'm guessing that developer didn't have to make any road improvements. So I guess I kind of see this as, yeah, I mean, the nine dwelling units per acre seems like a lot for the area, but it is partially related. And if the developer wants to pay for the road improvements, maybe that's a reasonable compromise, but hear from others.
And Mr. Anderson, I think you raise a valid point there. I think on the road itself, but I think there are several other instances, and I think I've cited that in my packet, I think under either Exhibit C or D, but there are other developments very close in the area that have really, the character of this corridor has changed quite significantly over the past few years. As I pointed out, we've got several different zoning types, and I think one of the things that this 2024 plan, the comprehensive plan, indicated was that it was seeking to have a variety of different housing types. This PR zone that it's going to be at some point, no matter what. This PR zoning is designed exactly for this type of creative development where, hey, we've got several different types of land here. We have some commercial land, we have some residential land, and for residential housing. And I think that as a part of the 2024 plan, that 2024 plan did anticipate growth. And I fear that, if we maintain a 4-unit density, then it kind of takes the thought behind the 2024 plan, kind of throws it off to the side and says, hey, this anticipated future growth that we're planning for, we're just going to throw that out the window. We're going to maintain the similar density of the unit across the street. And I think that we absolutely want to be a good partner here. I'm not going to come before you and be anything other than that. And I would expect that if we were anything other than a good partner as a part of this project, that nobody should be working with us in the future.
Thank you, Mr. Valiant. Commissioner Biggs.
Yeah, just a few thoughts. So recognize that there's a variety of densities in the area, at least as I'm reading kind of the zoning map here, I think higher density project that's being referenced, that's in that 11, 12 range, directly faces Strawberry Plains Pike. So to me, that's a little bit of apples and oranges in terms of you have a major thoroughfare that can handle a larger kind of discharge from a residential area. So I don't, while it's proximate geographically, the difference in road types that they're off of, I think is a significant variable there. I think staff's recommendation is a good one here, in that this is kind of strategic growth in a targeted growth area, but it's growth that feels appropriate for the surrounding environment to me, given the historical and agricultural use of the area that this is proximate to. So I'd be supportive of staff's recommendation, and I think we see pretty typically that the developer that proposes a development that kind of is the straw that breaks the camel's back in terms of road use and capacity is the one that has to bear the cost of the road improvement. So to me, this doesn't feel like an outlier case, but would welcome other thoughts if I'm thinking about that incorrectly.
Well, and I think that that's why we're wanting to come to the table and help with the infrastructure piece. I think your point is absolutely well taken. I think you are the development that I was talking about is that development that's in the shape of roughly a triangle right below the OB pink zoning designation at the bottom right of the screen.
All right, Mr. Valiant, I'm gonna go ahead and slow you down here a little bit. So.
Sure.
We'll just leave it up at commission for now.
Sure. My apologies.
No, that's okay. It's no problem. We're all trying to figure it out. We're, struggling with the density. We got some folks that feel like it's appropriate, some folks that don't, but that's the beauty of the commission. We talk through these things and try to make the best decision that we can. And I can see both sides of it, honestly. I mean, I know suburban residential does lean, and we do need the housing. I agree with Commissioner Biggs, too. Not a great example of 12 units an acre because it's going straight out on Strawberry Plains versus the side road. So, I mean, we need the housing. There's a lot of different issues in there. I understand the economic side of it, too. It's hard to improve a road at lower density because the yield is lower. However, I see staff's reasoning, with coming up with 4. I mean, I think it could be higher, it could be 5, it could be more. It's just a will of the body of where we want it to go. So I'd love to hear from a few other folks and their opinions. Commissioner Gill, were you wanting to?
So I just, in the spirit of talking this through, I'm looking at this, and so if we're talking about improving the road needs to be approved all the way back to Strawberry Plains in order to justify that density, but we cross into the city at that point when we're coming in here. So we're talking about a county road improvement right up until it hits the city, and then it's not the county anymore, it's now, how, are you offering, Mr. Jenkins, you're saying that you're going to develop the road all the way out to your property, all the way back to Strawberry Plains and widen it for 20 feet all the way out there to serve that? Is that what you're suggesting we should approve?
That's correct.
I mean, that's a pretty major road project to take on.
It is, but I would caution that we not approve zoning because they're willing to do the road work. We need to, it needs to tie to the comprehensive plan or, the plans.
Well, and that's kind of where I'm going with this, is like, we're talking about the condition that's that's causing some consternation is the ability for the infrastructure to support this based on the plan. And the opportunity being raised here is to say that we can alleviate that through some road projects, but
I guess, my concern was if it's 4 units or 5 units an acre, does that alleviate the road improvement? Which I don't think it does.
I don't know if it does.
I mean, it wouldn't, that's the the fine line we're trying to navigate here, but still good discussion. Anybody else jump in with that? Commissioner Midas.
Well, I guess I saw that the character of the area was probably my biggest concern, and at 9 dwelling units per acre, that's twice what's there now, and I probably won't be supporting that.
Do you know, at 9 units an acre, from a practical perspective, I'm assuming you're gonna have to attach the housing. I mean, it would be, from my experience anyway, it'd be extremely difficult to have detached houses at that kind of density. I mean, you really max out at about 5 or 6. Plus, you've got the 35-foot buffer all the way around it that they're talking about. So can you speak to that at all?
Yes, sir, and I think the photographs I provided, those are the exact types of units. And so I do believe that there are, it does look like there are some units that are attached to each other, but I think it's in blocks.
What was that last part? I'm sorry.
I think it's in blocks, so I think in
like 4 together, 3 or 4 together, and then?
From the look of it, it looks like it's probably 2 or 3 together at a time, at least from the photographs. So we actually have these exact units that have been approved and built in a different section of the county for the same developer under, I think, Neely Park Landing, or Neely Landing, I think. Excuse me.
But that might get back to Commissioner Midas. It's a different type of product than what's there. However, I mean, I do feel a mixture of housing is healthy too. But yeah, so we've got differing opinions. Is anybody ready to really make their opinion now? Commissioner Biggs.
I'd be willing to make a motion for approval and maybe go up to like 5 dwelling units an acre to help recognize the fact that there is additional infrastructure that would need to be paid for this project, and I think 5 is consistent with the density in surrounding areas. So I'd propose that if others can see that as a.
I'd second that.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well,
If you could make it in a more
I'll
formal
make it
motion.
formal. Yeah. Motion to approve the planned residential up to 5 dwelling units per acre because it is consistent with the comprehensive plan. Subject to 2 conditions: that existing healthy trees be retained within a 35-foot peripheral setback, and that Pine Grove Road will be improved from the access point of a future development to Strawberry Plains Pike, as determined by Knox County Engineering and Public Works.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to approve at 5 dwelling units per acre, subject to the 2 conditions by staff, by Commissioner Biggs, seconded by Commissioner Anderson. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you and good luck, Mr. Valiant.
Thank you, Mr. Huber.
All right. Okay, we're on to agenda item number 20. Applicant, this is a rezoning report, be one motion. The applicant is Be It Ventures LLC. The location is the south side of 3 Points Road, northwest side of Rutledge Pike, northeast of Roberts Road. The size of the tract is 3.44 acres. Current zoning is agricultural. Requested zoning is planned residential up to 2 dwelling units per acre. Is the applicant present? Very good. The staff recommendation is to deny planned residential zone up to 2 units an acre due to environmental constraints with the site. The floodway designation would be retained. Would you please state your name and address for the record, please?
Dawn Arian, 5001 Hidden Haven Way, Blaine, Tennessee.
Very good, Ms. Arian. Is there any opposition to this request? Seeing none, you have 5 minutes.
Okay. So there are many constraints on the site, and basically I'm asking for a little bit more flexibility when we go to subdivide, and that the subdivision and plat review be the place where those constraints be addressed. Right now, the zoning limits me to 1 acre per dwelling, and it's under 4 acres, and I think we could do 4 dwellings on this parcel in total if it were to be subdivided. And with it being less than 4 acres right now, that would not be permitted. So the future plan, I think, would allow for 2 acres or 2 dwellings per acre. The neighboring residential is now single family. This is 1 lot in the area that's not single family residential. So I don't think I need my full 5 minutes. I'm just asking that it be rezoned to give me the flexibility during the subdivision process to address all of the constraints that are on the property.
Very good. Thank you, Ms. Arian. So I do have a question out of the gate. So as staff pointed out, the majority of the property is in a flood zone. Do you have any idea of how to handle that, or how would you address that situation?
Yes, if you bring in additional fill dirt for the actual house site, you can appeal to FEMA for a reevaluation for the house site and get the house itself out of the floodway. The whole site, I mean, there's going to be floodway on the site for each individual site, but the house itself could be elevated with fill to bring it out of the floodway.
So pushing it over to engineering, so that's something that you guys would monitor?
Yes, she does have a significant amount of no-fill on the property, so she couldn't fill that area. She could fill down to the no-fill, and then she would have to have a surveyor verify that the minimum floor elevations were 1 foot above the 500-year.
Yeah, I don't believe the no-fill line's on there. We don't see that at that point. That's the flood line, but.
There was one document, I think, that had the no-fill line on it.
Yeah,
somewhere in our
it's in
our
the case
packet.
file. Mhm.
Yeah, it looked to be roughly half of the property you could fill, give or take. But you're aware of that, and aware you can't have a permit, you can't build a house, you can't do anything with it can't do anything with it right now.
Right.
Until you do some sort of fill operation. So.
Right. I'm just with. If we were to rezone, we'd be able to meet with engineering and to discuss how we could divide up the property and where we could put fill potentially to best place the dwellings.
Right. Yeah. So I think it's important to note to commission that she's not able and not legally able to build a house on the property now. If it's rezoned to planned residential at any density, she's not allowed to build a house on it in its condition now. She would have to go through all the process with TDEC and Knox County at some stage to do that. So I understand where staff's coming from, just because that is a pretty serious constraint. Almost the entire property is covered by the floodplain. However, state law allows us or people that own the property to alter that if they so choose, but they have a lot of rules to go through before they can do that. So looking for discussion.
I'll jump in.
Commissioner Anderson.
So I think we did see some drawing that showed the no-fill line, and I believe it left a decent amount of potentially buildable property left if they filled it. So I guess if I don't see, and people can argue me out of this, but I don't really see, I don't see a reason not to approve the rezoning just for this, if it can be filled and used.
Right, legally it can be done now, even in an agricultural zone, she could go fill it all the way down to the no-fill line. It's just a question of, is it appropriate to be planned residential or not?
Right. And it feels like it could be to me.
Commissioner Gill?
Yeah, that's what I was talking around that saying, I'll come back to me.
All right, Commissioner Biggs?
I should know this, but I'm just trying to refresh myself on like, are there any criteria for planned residential in terms of like minimum lot size or anything like that? Or like, would this typically be a?
Ms. Bousquet, I think you had looked at this file.
So minimum lot size in general for planned residential?
I guess, yeah, like, but for the floodway, would this typically be a good candidate for planned residential?
So the floodway would not impact the lot area that's allowed. The planned residential zone allows lots to go down to 5,000 square feet roughly for a single family home to as large as it would need to be. And so typically the PR zone is appropriate for sites with environmental constraints, but in this situation, with the property being largely in a floodplain and then the areas outside of the floodplain that are a little steep, that was kind of the basis for our concerns.
All right, thank you.
Commissioner Browning?
Thank you, Chair Huber. I tend to agree with Commissioner Anderson. I think the increase in zoning would give her the flexibility to try to be as creative as possible as she could with this site. It's, not only is she going to have to fill and shoot site elevations and deal with T-deck and all that other stuff, but really, ultimately, she's going to have to get a letter of map revision from FEMA if she wants to be able to sell any of these houses without flood insurance. So she's got a lot of work to do, and I think it would. I think we ought to give her every option she can with her property to try to make it work.
Yeah, and I think, planned residential in itself is designed to be able to work with environmental issues like this. So, that's the whole purpose of it. Not the whole purpose, but it's a big part of it. So I would be in support. Commissioner Browning, did that sound like a motion to you, or?
I'll let Commissioner Anderson make the motion. He's better at it.
Before we go there, I just want to point out, since as you noodle on how to come up with a motion, Commissioner Anderson, I do want to point out that the place type that we're looking at here is RC, Rural Conservation. And given the amount of filling that's going to have to be done, the amount of site prep that's going to have to be done, that the only part of this lot that is not in the floodway is also under hillside protection. There's a disturbance budget there, that there's an overlay over that one section that's not in the floodway is actually on the hillside. So there, as we're looking forward on this, I want to keep in mind that as I always do at one of these, we see these RCs, and I like to point out that that's rural conservation. We're supposed to be not disturbing this land. And while in a normal PR zone, you could say, okay, well, I don't want to disturb half of this. We are nearly guaranteeing that all this land is going to be disturbed in order to make the fill line work. So I am struggling with the concept of saying, yes, this is an appropriate place for a PR zone. In an RC, we're being told to respect 50% to 75% of that land being undisturbed, and then narrowly guaranteeing, in order to make the state law, the map revisions and everything else, that all of that will have to be disturbed in order to make that work. I mean, you could argue that the part of past the no-fill line satisfies that. I suppose that that's appropriate, but yeah, that is an uncomfortable line that we're walking on there for however we move forward with whatever motion that you want to make.
That was my thinking is they can't get past the no-fill line, you can't touch it anyway, which would kind of, by default, almost meet that secondary 50% or so. It's not disturbed. It's a good point. I appreciate the point. But at least my thought was half of it doesn't get disturbed anyway.
So it is a good point. I'm still going to make the motion. So I'd like to make the motion to approve the PR zone with up to 2 dwelling units per acre because it is partially related to the RC place type and meets the intent of the PR zoning, which provides optional methods of land development that encourage more imaginative solutions to environmental constraints. Yeah, and the flood. Tell me that again.
And the floodway would be maintained.
Yes, and the floodway would be maintained.
All right, I have a motion by Commissioner Anderson as read. Is there a second?
Second.
We have 2 seconds. But since it's Commissioner Boyer's last meeting, we will give it to her. So we have a motion by Commissioner Anderson to approve at 2 dwelling units an acre as read, seconded by Commissioner Boyer. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it. Nope, we have 1 no, Mr. Gill. 2 noes. I'm sorry, didn't see you, Ms. Midas. We have 2 noes. Motion passes 9-2. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll take a quick break. Yeah. So it's 3 o'clock, so we are going to take a short break, and then we'll come back and just finish up the rest of the agenda. Thank you. You ready? All right. We are going to resume the June meeting and move on to agenda item number 21. It's one report, has 4 motions. There's a variance, alternative design standards, a concept plan, and a development plan. The location is 7324 Millertown Pike. The applicant developer is Masana Investments, LLC. Location is the south side of Millertown Pike, east of Presnell Road. The approximate acreage is 10.53 acres. It is zoned 5.1 dwelling units per acre. The number of lots requested is 46. I will read the staff recommendations now. Staff recommendation on the variance is to approve the variance to decrease the intersection separation on Millertown Pike from 400 feet to 285 feet between Road A and Leg Creek Lane. There are 3 stated reasons for that. The staff recommendation on the alternative design is to approve the alternative design standards based on the justification provided by the applicant and recommendations of the Knox County Department of Engineering and Public Works. The staff recommendation on the concept plan is to approve the concept plan, subject to the 9 stated conditions in the report. The staff recommendation on the development plan is to approve the development plan for up to 46 single-family lots and a peripheral setback reduction as shown on the development plan, subject to 2 conditions. Is the applicant present?
Yes, Drew Staton, P.O. Box 11315, Knoxville, Tennessee 37939.
Thank you, Mr. Staton. Is there any opposition to this file? Seeing none, you have the floor for 5 minutes.
Respect the request approval per staff recommendation. I'm happy to answer any questions.
They didn't even get to turn the clock on.
Next time.
That's all right. Okay, so we have a concept plan, development plan, variances, and an alternative design plan. Yeah. Chair will entertain a motion if we would start with a variance. Unless you have a comment, Commissioner Biggs.
Yeah, sorry, I know I'm always a connectivity broken record here, but just I know there's a transmission easement going across the property that like provides a physical kind of connection, it looks like via common areas with the adjacent site, but I guess was there a reason there was not a proposed, like, more formal connection to the adjacent, like, property?
That's, can the applicant speak to that?
You kind of answered it, yes, sir, because we already have that, and you can build roads under TVA power line easements, and so we figured that was a pretty reasonable spot for it.
Right, no, I guess understood, just maybe more curious why there wasn't like a planned, like, I don't know, sidewalk or like formal point of connection. Like that there's common area, but is there a plan to like physically connect the two adjoining neighborhoods?
Not to my knowledge, no, sir.
Okay, and yeah, I guess that would be my question, just for like staff, maybe, was that a point of discussion, or I'm just thinking, you know, would be pretty easy to put a sidewalk in connecting the two, like, so that, you know, somebody can, I know somebody could walk across a field if somebody's in a wheelchair on crutches. Are they going to be able to do that if they got a friend or neighbor next door? Like, could you, was that part of the discussion, maybe? Question to staff.
Ms. Warner, I guess, yeah, you would.
So there's no right-of-way that comes right up to the property line, so there's no, like, I guess, stub out to connect to, and we did not consider a pedestrian connection.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think in this case, if there was going to be a connection between the two subdivisions, it would be along Millowtown Pike with a sidewalk there, instead of coming through the private common areas, since there wasn't a provision in the adjacent subdivision to allow the connection.
Okay, understood.
Makes sense. Real quick before we move on, I wanted to ask engineering, with respect to the variance, have you guys had a chance to look at A, B, and C and take a look and see what you think about those?
Yes, we reviewed them and we're okay with them.
Great, and I'll ask the same question about the alternative design. You reviewed the alternative design and feel like it's safe?
Yes, we looked at those and we didn't think they were creating any unsafe conditions.
Very good, thank you. All right, so now we are back to staff is recommending approval. We have 4 motions, and Chair will entertain the motion. Commissioner Anderson.
I'll make the motion. Do you need to read this first, or?
I've read all of those. I did not read the A, B, and C.
Okay.
But I think you could refer to it.
Okay. So first motion is I move to approve the variance to decrease the intersection separation on Millertown Pike from 400 feet to 285 feet between Road A and Leg Creek Lane for the 3 stated justifications.
Okay, we have a motion on to approve the variance by Commissioner Anderson, seconded by Commissioner Barger. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it.
Okay, so I move to approve the alternative design standard based upon a justification provided by the applicant and recommendation of the Knox County Department of Engineering and Public Works.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Anderson and seconded by Commissioner Levinson. All on the staff recommendation to approve the alternative design plan. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it.
I move to approve the concept plan subject to the 9 stated conditions.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Anderson and a second by Commissioner Barger to approve the concept plan subject to 9 conditions. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it.
Move to approve the development plan for up to 46 single-family lots and a peripheral setback reduction as shown in the development plan, subject to the 2 stated conditions.
We have a motion to approve the development plan up to 46 single-family lots by Commissioner Anderson, seconded by Commissioner Barger. All in favor say aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you.
Thanks for your time.
All right, we are on to agenda item number 22. The applicant is Darren Green. The location is north side of East Beaver Creek, west of Ryan Lane, 4.82 acres. The current zoning is planned residential up to 8 dwelling units per acre. Proposed use is an attached residential development. This is the development plan. There is only one motion. Staff's recommendation is to approve the development plan for up to 17 duplexes, 34 dwelling units, and a peripheral setback reduction from 35 feet to 25 feet as shown on the development plan, subject to 6 conditions. Is the applicant present?
Yes, sir. Robert Campbell, 7523 Taggart Lane, on behalf of the applicant, and he is also present if needed.
Very good. And this is number 22. We do have one person to speak for it, Arnold Cohen. Is Mr. Cohen here? Yes, sir. Would you like to speak? Are you for, or you might be against it?
Well, my name's Arnold Cohen. I'm a lawyer, 6025 Brookvale Lane in Knoxville.
Real quick, Mr. Cohen,
I am representing Stephen Pittman, who is renewing our request from last month to defer the consideration of this plan for another 2 to 3 months to give the developer time to put the drainage system into compliance and to allow the Knox County Engineering and Stormwater to verify compliance.
Very good, Mr. Cohen. Hang on, have a second here. Let me ask the applicant, do you want to defer, number one? Okay, so we're going to defer to you now. So you're concerned, Mr. Pittman is the neighbor, and he is concerned with the stormwater runoff, correct?
Yes, he's been suffering stormwater damage. We've been trying to work this out for 6 years. We've been trying to work with the engineering department and with the developer. And as of our most recent information, which Mr. Campbell's reports of March and May 2026, there was non-compliance that or deficiencies that needed correcting. We've had no information that it's been corrected. I have an email from Mr. Steve Elliott from Monday, the afternoon, June 8th, saying that they have delivered some final plans, but the engineering hasn't had an opportunity to review them. They're not yet approved, and there could be deficiencies. I can read the email if you like. I have stuff I can read to substantiate just what I just said.
I don't think we need that. We can just defer directly to engineering if we...
I'm sorry?
I said we don't need you to read it. We can just defer to the engineering department. They're sitting right next to you.
Okay.
Okay, so we have a development plan that's been submitted to us. Staff is recommending approval. There is apparently some legacy stormwater issues that you're dealing with from, I would call it phase 1 of this project. Engineering, Mr. Elliott, would you mind speaking to it a little bit as to, okay, is it in phase 1 and this is phase 2? Is phase 2 separate from a stormwater perspective than phase 1, or how do they correlate?
Well, obviously, we haven't seen final design plans yet, but looking at the concept, it appears phase 2 is going to be a separate detention pond from phase 1. So if you can see on the plan, the stormwater detention pond he's referencing is right there. And the other one, yes, that one's the one. That one's the one he's referencing. The phase 2 has separate detention from phase 1.
Yeah, I think it's probably important to point out. I think Mr. Pittman and yourself, you have an issue, but it's mainly coming from phase 1, which is going to be an enforcement scenario. Would that be correct, Mr. Elliott?
It's correct. The developer has been working on the pond in phase 1. I've not been out there myself, but my inspection team has been out and took photos, and from the photos, the pond looked good. We did receive as-built for the front pond earlier this week. Unfortunately, staff's not had time to review them to make sure that the numbers and the file is complete.
And our position is that if we've got phase 1 that's been in chronic non-compliance, and if that's not nipped in the bud, you might expect non-compliance on phase 2. There's been, my clients suffered water damage and siltation. Some of it runs into Beaver Creek. Some of it can affect the Massey property, which Mr. Huber is said to soon develop. I've posted all these comments on your website. If you've read them, they were there. And if the developer is not brought into compliance at this point in time, can we expect him to be in compliance on phase two? Our position is it's too big a risk, and we think you should defer to give him the opportunity to make sure he's in compliance and to have engineering review those plans and make their inspection and measurements to see that he is in compliance. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Would the applicant like to speak?
Yes, sir, thank you. So we are dealing with an issue that we're asking for an approval for a use on review development plan for phase two. And you can tell that phase two has its own separate drainage system. The drainage system actually goes in different directions than the issue at hand. There was an agreement between Mr. Cohen's client and our developer to correct an issue. We believe that issue has been corrected. The as-bills have been submitted, but I would submit to you that there is a outstanding bond in place for phase one. So if we haven't met our obligations for phase one, there is a bond in place. That's the purpose of that, is to protect everybody from things not being right. There will be a separate bond in place for phase two when we go to phase two. Again, we did the as-built. It appears to us, based on the numbers that we located, the size, dimensions, that we have met the exact letter of the law or letter of the agreement that we needed to meet to bring phase one into compliance. Again, we're here for phase two to get that part of it approved. And we believe that phase one is in compliance, but we're really trying to concentrate on phase two here. So thank you.
All right. Well, thank you for your comments. And just a quick disclaimer, since Mr. Cohen did bring up a scenario that I have the neighboring property under contract. I don't think there's any conflict. I don't own the property, but I do have it under contract, and we're exploring options on it. But given the fact that it was brought up, and I think it would be best, out of an abundance of caution, that I will now recuse myself from the discussion. And I'll turn it over to Vice Chair Levinson. Thank you.
All right, Commissioner Gill.
Yeah, I have.
May I comment? I respect your recusal, but we weren't asking for that. I think your duties as a commissioner and your interest as a potential developer are basically the same in this case.
Thank you, sir. Yes.
So I guess, a couple of comments and then a question I think I have for council is that it's distressing to hear from opposition that there are some outstanding water issues. We are often faced with questions from the community regarding stormwater runoff, and we oftentimes defer to engineering, and we assure everyone that those stormwater things will not be an impact. So I take that very, very seriously. However, that being said, I'm struggling with understanding how a phase one project that is not in front of us has any legal bearing on a phase two project. We're not charged with enforcing the conditions of stormwater. Is that a fair assessment? So is while I am in hopes that those as-bills are correct and that bond is released and all of that is corrected, and I wish that Mr. Pittman all the best in his property, I don't think that that's germane to this conversation. I think we have to assess this based on what's in front of us on the development plan. Is that a fair assessment? We shouldn't be delaying phase two based on an enforcement action.
I think it's a fair assessment. Of course, it is appropriate to rely upon, engineering is here for a reason.
Right.
It's appropriate to ask for their input and guidance about those things. And then, of course, as a commission, then you have within your purview, as always on this application and others, the ability to approve it, to deny it. You can make a motion to postpone it. You have all of those options based on the evidence that you hear, both in your packet and then the evidence that you hear today. So it's not improper to listen to the comments of an opposition or an applicant, and then likewise for county engineering.
Okay, I appreciate that. I think where my head is at, and maybe I'd love to hear from other commissioners in this, is that I want to see those stormwater issues corrected for the phase one. But in terms of how that impacts phase two, if this is a wholly separate drainage, I think that I would want to know that county engineering has taken a look at that drainage and make sure that that is meeting the specifications that we would be in the development plan.
Yes, we would review the design plan when it came in, but I do want to clarify, my staff was out there May 8th, and they found no deficiency, said the site was in compliance. Mr. Cohen did ask for us to go back, and unfortunately, we just don't have the staffing level to make it back out there in time for this meeting. So, but on May 8th, the report I have in front of me says the site was compliant.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. So I'll defer to the rest of the commission for additional discussion.
Commissioner Anderson?
I don't, is it okay if I make a motion? Okay. So I think everything that Commissioner Gill said is true and worth considering, but I'm going to go ahead and make the motion to approve the development plan for up to 17 duplexes and a peripheral setback reduction from 35 feet to 25 feet as shown on the development plan, subject to the 6 conditions.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Anderson, second by Commissioner Gill. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank y'all.
All right, we are going to head on to agenda item number 24. Smart Hospitality is the applicant. Location is on the south side of Everett Road, west of Yarnell Road, 14.44 acres. The zoning is CB and PRK, planned residential up to 10 units an acre. The proposed use is a multifamily development of apartments and townhomes. Is the applicant present?
I think that's me again. Robert Campbell, 7523 Taggart Lane.
Very good. And staff recommendation is to approve the development plan for up to 144 dwelling units, subject to 8 conditions. I believe we do have Ms. Lawrence. Is there Ms. Lawrence here? Very good. Did you want to defer? Come on down. And we also have a James Burton, if Mr. Burton is here. Oh, great. So you've got a combined 5 minutes between the two of you. So again, you can roughly have 2.5 minutes apiece. I would appreciate it. Thank you. State your name and address for the record, please.
I'm Tanza Lawrence, and my address is 12624 Coyote Canyon Way. So good afternoon, members of the Planning Commission. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Tanza Lawrence, and I live off Everett Road. I am here to express strong concerns about the proposed Serenity at Everett Road apartment complex directly across the street from my property. This development will contain 144 dwellings. Recently, a new development called Everett Woods was approved for a subdivision containing 170 home sites that sits adjacent to the subject property. Additionally, 2 more planned projects, Vintage West with 224 units and a low-income Everett Point apartment with 132 units on the opposite side of my property, have been approved. All of these developments are within a half-a-mile stretch on Everett Road. This road was not designed for this kind of traffic volume. Traffic is already a serious problem in our area, and these new developments will make it much worse. Right now, it is often nearly impossible to turn left from Everett Road onto the road that accesses the interstate without delays of up to 20 minutes. The recent apartment complex across from the quarry near Watt Road has already increased congestion, and the new homes in the Everett Woods subdivision are adding even more traffic during morning and afternoon rush hours. We were told that a traffic circle would be installed at the intersection of Everett Road and Yarnell. This is not reflected on the current development plan, but was recommended by the results of the traffic study. Yet this traffic study was conducted for this project only and does not represent the other approved developments. Everett and Yarnell roads are narrow, curvy, 2-lane roads with several blind hills, curves, and hidden driveways. They're frequently used by cyclists, and adding approximately 672 new residents and potentially 1,000 new vehicles to these roads creates serious safety risks. Your site map says that the conceptual plan shows one side access Serenity Way onto Everett Road, approximately 180 feet west of Yarnell Road. Per the Knox County subdivision regulations, the minimum spacing between intersections on a collector is 300 feet. Therefore, the spacing for this proposed site access does not meet the minimum recommended spacing on a collector. In addition, Of the 10 property owners that I share a driveway easement with, only me, I was 300 feet away from the subject property. I was the only one to get a notice. And we will all be equally affected by this, as will all the other residents on Everett Road. In addition to traffic concerns, the impact on our local school system needs to be addressed. Hardin Valley schools are already overcrowded. My daughter graduated from Hardin Valley Academy in 2018. It was overcrowded then. If my calculations are correct, 672 new dwellings will have been added to this immediate area by the time that these 3 apartment projects are complete. We also have concerns with the recommended disturbance within the hillside protection area. It is 0.96 acres, and the current plan will disturb 2.16 acres. And we're deeply concerned that introducing multiple apartment complexes so close to our long-established residential neighborhood will negatively impact property values for residents who have lived there for decades. I respectfully ask the Planning Commission to carefully consider the cumulative impact of these projects on traffic safety, school capacity, property values, and quality of life for current residents. We need better infrastructure, proper notification procedures, and thoughtful planning that respects the character of our community. We respectfully ask the Commission to delay approval of this project until the above stated issues are resolved and traffic improvements are on the plans, and ask that no certificate of occupancy be issued until the traffic circle is complete.
Thank you, Ms. Lawrence. Mr. Burton. If we could give Mr. Burton maybe one more minute here, since it ran long a little bit. There you go.
James Burton, 1219 Everett Road, Knoxville, Tennessee. So I'm the neighbor directly beside this proposed property.
Very good.
So I'll go quick, I'm sorry. To the members of the reviewing body, I'm writing to formally express my opposition to the proposed site plan as currently submitted. While I acknowledge the applicant's right to develop the subject property, the plan as designed raises serious and unresolved concerns relating to the private property rights, public safety, environmental impacts, and land use compatibility. The first one being the private driveway connection. The proposed site plan connects the apartment's complex primary entrance and exit to our private driveway. Our driveway was designed, constructed, and has been maintained exclusively to serve as a single-family residence. Routing the traffic of 140-plus unit development through or adjacent to that access point would constitute a significant and unauthorized burden on our private property. We have not consented to any easement, shared access arrangement, or other encumbrance on our driveway. If the applicant or any other property claims an existing right to use or connect to our private drive, we demand the documentation of that claim right to be produced and reviewed as part of this proceeding. Additional impacts of this driveway connection include safety and marketability moving forward for our single-family home. Another point of contention is the dumpster and service area location. The placement of the dumpster enclosure immediately adjacent to our property line is incompatible with the residential character of our property and those of other neighboring landowners. A facility serving 140-plus units will require frequent collection activity, generating significant noise during early morning hours, persistent odors, and conditions conducive to pest activity. These impacts will substantially diminish the use and enjoyment of our property. We request that the dumpster and service area be relocated to the interior of the development site at a meaningful distance from all residential property lines, and that the final location be subject to adequate masonry, solid screening, mature landscaping, and appropriate access restrictions to prevent nuisance conditions for the neighboring residents. So in conclusion, we respectfully request that the reviewing body require the following revisions to the site plan as a condition of any approval. Eliminate the proposed connection to our private driveway and redesign site access entirely within the applicant's property. Relocate the dumpster and service area away from residential property lines, and require larger setbacks and enhanced landscaping and screening buffers along all boundaries adjacent to existing residential properties. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Burton. Mr. Campbell, can you speak to the driveway situation? I'm assuming that there's been a survey done on this property.
Yeah, and that's a little bit of a surprise to me, and I'm not doubting what they say, because all the access looked like it was straight on to Everett Road, and there may be something shared at the front end there. But again, our property goes to that right of way, so I'm not sure what that condition is. We certainly can try to address that, and make sure that that access is maintained. And as part of that, Commission, and I may have to go pick a little bit on the county, the traffic was referenced. One of the conditions of our study is a traffic circle at Yarnell. And I know that the county currently is looking at how we do that, not from a design standpoint, but from a procedure standpoint. We understand that's part of the condition. We agree that's part of the condition. And totally understand that there have to be improvements made. As far as having the traffic circle in place before a notice of occupancy, I don't know the timing of that. If it were up to me, we could go out and build one in 30 days, but I know there's other hoops that we have to go through and that kind of thing. So I'm just not sure what the timing looks like. I think it is certainly reasonable to expect that some of the apartments cannot have a certificate of occupancy until some of those improvements have been made. And we've done that in the past, and I think that's, again, certainly reasonable. But we're committed to doing that circle. And again, I think we've had conversations with Knox County about how we go about that procedurally to make that happen. And as far as the other things about dumpsters and things, we can certainly try to look at some of those locations and try to make that, make some of those accommodations that they mentioned.
Thank you, Mr. Campbell. Can engineering speak to that? I mean, through your memorandum of understandings and, deals with road improvements, can you restrict certificates of occupancy until road improvements are made?
We can. We've looked at this intersection. It shows up in our 5-year capital plan for a couple of years out. But we actually have an engineering firm right now looking at a couple of alternatives. We don't like that offset, so we are looking at possibly bringing Everett Road over, I guess, to the west and align it with their driveway, potential, some turn lanes, maybe potentially a roundabout as well. The roundabout is something we like, but with the stream there, there's a decent sized box culvert. There's some constraints there that may make the roundabout a little more cost prohibitive the more we've looked at it. But yes, we will look at the level of service, the vehicle delay, apply that to all these as these COs get issued, and would be able to essentially hold COs to ensure that a level of service that creates, undue delay for the citizens out there does not reach the point until such time we have a larger improvement in place.
Very good. Thank you for your information. Ms. Warner, as I was reading the file, it mentioned that a similar site plan was approved in 2019. Can you speak to that? What was it? Was it apartments or townhomes, or were you familiar with that up to?
Yeah, let me.
It was apartments.
Okay.
We're just putting we are putting a few more than what were approved in the past.
Okay, yeah, because the property's owned 10 units an acre now, or up to 10 units an acre right now, so you're just coming through with a new site plan, similar to your old one, but maybe a little bit more dense. Okay, just looking for clarification on that as well. So now that you'd mentioned the garbage location, can you speak to that a little more?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get clarification. Oh, sorry, I didn't see. Yeah, clarification on that on the site, because didn't bring my glasses, and it's all half size, and. Okay. Yeah, we can certainly look at another location for that. Again, with garbage, we've got to have proper turnarounds, and we need to have places for people to pull off and park so they can drop their garbage off. But we'll try to look at another location that's closer in where we're not in a stream buffer or something, and hopefully we can find. Again, didn't know that was an objection, but I think there's an opportunity there.
Yeah, and that can be addressed, given this is a development plan. Engineering can take a look at that. Commissioner Gill, you had a question? Sure, jump in.
Yeah, I want to come back on something that you had said about a site plan that was approved in 2019. I'm struggling a little bit. I'm looking at this site plan, and I'm looking at the place type that we have overlaid on here, which is SR. And I got my little book out, and you know, I'm sorry I'm doing this late in the game, but I got my little book out, so you know where I'm going with this, is that this is an SR place type, which is characterized by mostly residential single-family homes, but you know, the secondary use can be attached housing with the scale of a single-family home with parking that is on-street and private off-street with individual drives from the street. So we're talking about a site plan that I'm looking at that has large 3-story apartment buildings with surface parking lots, and those two things aren't jiving together. And I know that our place type, and we've run into this a couple of times where our place types are not now codified into the UDO, so we have limited, I don't know where we stand with that as we're working towards that, but to me, this concept plan does not meet the place type that we've put in place. And so when we look at our matrix on here, it says that a PR zone with 9 to 12 dwelling units per acre is partially related, and it stipulates that, you know, it has to meet the site conditions, and you can have additional conditions on there. And one of those additional conditions, to me, seems like that you meet the intent of the place type, which this concept plan doesn't, which gives me a little bit of heartburn here. But then to hear about the site plan, this is an existing site plan from 2019 that we're just updating?
I don't think it's existing. There was one approved in 2019. Is that fair?
That is correct. We are adding more units, but it is very similar to the one that was approved. Again, more units are being added because the density was upgraded based on the, I think this property was upgraded in the planning, I forget which one it is now, but upgraded to a higher density requirement or high density allowable for this than was in the previous planning document.
And the building form of that original site plan also included these apartment block buildings.
They were the same. I mean, the height and all were very similar to what was approved in 2019. These and those two were, yes, sir.
So that kind of puts us in a little bit of a bind here because, you know, if this was a pre-existing approved site plan and this was what was going to go here and you've come back to add an additional density, we've already told you that that was okay in this location. But I also am looking at what we have now labeled as what's supposed to be here, and it doesn't match it at all. So are we bound from a precedent perspective to respect what happened in 2019 prior to the comprehensive plan, or is that our discretion?
Well, I think it's always our discretion, and that's why we have the body.
Sure.
You know, to have the vote. Now, just understanding the area, I mean, this property, it is already zoned up to 10 units an acre, so that's a fact. There's no way to develop it at 10 units an acre without this form has been presented. Plus, if you look at, to me, if you look at the map, I mean, it's a stone's throw away from a lot of commercial right down the street. So, I mean, I understand what you're saying. The rules of the new comprehensive plan are slightly different than what we're looking at here.
Yeah, and I guess that's why I just want it to be on record. So if we do move forward with this,
right,
the rationale here is
understood, and that'll all get cleaned up in the UDO someday. You know, when we can tie the two together. You know, but right now, as a planned residential zone with 10 units an acre, I think it's certainly something we can consider.
Fair enough.
Very good.
And I'll just say the previous plan was for 72 apartments, and this plan is now for 144 dwelling units. Most of them are apartments, but this property was rezoned, has a January file number on it, so it was recently rezoned to 10 dwelling units an acre.
Right, because it was originally 5 units an acre, I believe, or somewhere in that, and county commission county commission came through and decided that they would want to see more density in that area, and approve the zoning up to 10. So that brings us forward to today. I appreciate your comments and understand it, you know, because we will have to try to tie that in someday. But I think that really happens once we get the UDO and the comprehensive plan tied together. So, but today we have a planned residential zone property at 10 units an acre with a development plan that fits within that. So I'm certainly open to more comments. So it sounds like, before we get into that, but, so the applicant is willing to take a look at moving the dumpster.
Yeah.
Engineering has said that they can restrict COs on the buildings until road work is taken care of. So those are a couple things to consider. Commissioner Levinson.
I want to make a motion that we approve the development plan for up to 144 units, subject to the 8 conditions.
We have a motion to approve up to 144 dwelling units from Commissioner Levinson, seconded by Commissioner Barger. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Please work with the neighbors.
Yes, sir.
All right, we are down to agenda item number 27. Applicant is Ethan Phillips. The location is on the northwest side of Andes Road, northeast side of Ivywood Lane. Size of the tract is 36,000 square feet. Zoning is planned residential up to 3 dwelling units an acre. The proposed use is 1 new lot for existing house. The staff recommendation is to approve the development plan for up to 2 detached residential lots, subject to 6 stated conditions. Is the applicant present? All right. Is there Mr. Murphy? Sir, or Mrs. Murphy? I'm sorry, Mrs. Murphy is here. Okay. Would you like to, Mr. Phillips, I'm assuming?
Yes, sir.
If you could just go ahead and state your name and address for the record.
Ethan Phillips, 10308 Hardin Valley Road, Knoxville, Tennessee.
Very good. Would you like to defer?
Yes.
Or would you? Okay. All right. So, Ms. Murphy, if you could come up, and state your name and address, you'll have 5 minutes.
Yes, thank you. My name is Karen Murphy. My husband and I live at 9329 Ivywood Lane. We are the property owners there. It's my understanding that this hearing today is about the relocation of a driveway and the separation of one property into 2 lots. And Charles and I bought our home in September of 2011. We were looking for a retirement home in a quiet neighborhood while being convenient to grocery stores and pharmacies and so on. We looked at dozens of homes in West Knox County before we found our current home. And in the almost 15 years that we've lived there, we've improved it, maintained it, and paid all our property taxes. And about half of the other residents on Ivywood Lane, which is only 1 street, are also retirees. There is a homeowner association for all our homes on Ivywood Lane with covenants that help us control or reduce noise, nuisance, and non-conforming structures. All our homes have side-load garages, which help us to not only look into our neighbor's garage, but back out of our garage and drive forward out of our driveway. That's important. We've seen the traffic on Andes Road increase considerably since the Grange subdivision was built to the north of us. If you're not aware, and this map doesn't really show you the topography, Ivywood Lane is at the peak of a very steep hill coming up Andes Road, and then the topography rolls off downhill pretty steep in all directions, even in front. There is a couple of condos or apartments down immediately in front there of Ivywood Lane on Andes Road. That is an extremely uphill drive for them to come out and onto Ivywood. Every other direction going either, I'm not sure if that's north or south, you have a hill with hidden valleys and so on to deal with, so your view is obstructed there. Also, Ivywood Lane, especially from Churpit to Middlebrook, is a very curvy, hilly, and very narrow road. Since I usually drive from Ivywood down to Middlebrook, downhill on Andes Lane, you have to be very conscious of if you meet a garbage truck, a dump truck, a school bus, or anything like that, somebody has to move over. There are lots of places where two standard vehicles can barely meet. In fact, there was a collision of two standard vehicles meeting each other and ripping the rearview mirrors off of both. So then the corner of Ivywood and Andes gets to be a very busy corner. It's already busy and dangerous. In addition to the residents, as I said, of Ivywood Lane, there are residents in those apartments and condos right across the street. There is a school bus stop right there on Andes Lane. If you look at the topographical map, you will see that Ivy Lane, as I said, sits at the peak of a pretty steep hill with downhill slopes in all directions, creating these valleys below, which impedes vision and increases the danger of turning onto Andes Road. We definitely do not need to have more traffic pulling onto Ivywood Lane near the intersection of Andes Road, which would make an already dangerous situation worse. Now, the home in question at 1315 Andes Road was built in 1968 and has a driveway to the side that comes down to Andes Road. That is a much more clear vision of Andes Road than we have at Ivywood and Andes. Furthermore, if you allow this driveway to come off onto Ivywood Lane, is that going to be a straight driveway? It appears that way on the map. Are they going to be backing out, which would create a lot more danger and risk? So I'd like for you to notice that the property in question is 1315 Andes Road. What does the address become if it's changed to Ivywood Lane? If emergency vehicles are called to the property, they would expect to go to down Andes Road and access there. There's a very clear view of Andes Road from that existing driveway. My husband and I are very much in opposition to this proposal, and we just respectfully ask that you would consider, for the safety and the fairness to all owners, to deny this request to permit that driveway to be made onto Ivywood. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Murphy. All right, Mr. Phillips. So, yeah, if you could go ahead and tell us what your plan is here.
Yes, sir. So when we're working for the developer who's looking to cut this house out from the bigger piece of the property, and that's our only intent is just to consider the one property, but in this process, we've learned that the existing driveway, even though it has been around for so long, is technically not in compliance with the site distance requirements. So we went out and measured it and confirmed that it is not technically within compliance with site distance. So the only option would be to move the driveway over to Ivywood Lane, which is a pretty significant expense and trouble on our client to do that. But to make it compliant, that is the only route. So I think there was a couple other exhibits in this little slide where we're looking to bring the driveway in straight off of Ivywood Lane, the turnaround section. So the garage is on the east side of the house. So the turnaround would still be there for, cars coming in and out of the garage or parking area would just turn around there and exit straight onto Ivywood Lane. They would not be backing out onto Ivywood. And that is the only way we could get site distance for the driveway for this corner lot. There's a bunch of existing evergreen trees along Ivywood, and that's going to impede site distance. So our clients is going to have to clear several of those out to allow proper site distance along Ivywood, and he's working with the HOA of the development on Ivywood to, once he removes them, to get the site distance, to replace them behind the site distance lines with arborvitaes, to still provide somewhat of a vegetation screen that the subdivision on Ivywood has placed there when they developed it. So those would still, that greenery will be replaced, but behind the sight distance lines to keep the privacy situation intact. But that's our position on it. So if there's any more questions, we're happy to answer them.
Yeah, just for a quick clarification for my own sake. So you've got two existing houses. You're not building any new houses. It's just the two existing homes that have been there for a long time, correct?
There is just one home. The other building is a barn.
Okay.
And we're not privy to what the future development plans of the big piece is. We're just working to cut the house out, the big farm.
Gotcha. I just saw the roof line and thought that might be another house there. Okay. Okay, so now with the relocation of the driveway, are you going to bring it in front of the house on the Andes Road side or behind the house?
It's going to be behind the house.
Okay. And so you still have a hammerhead, some sort of turnaround. So when you do pull out onto Ivy Lane, you'll be facing out.
Yeah, like right now, you don't back out onto Andes Road. You go up the driveway and you kind of turn around in that kind of wide concrete area beside the house. And that's still where they're going to kind of turn around their cars. So you'll be driving, face first out onto Ivywood. No
Very good.
back out situation.
Thank you for the clarification. Commissioner Anderson.
I'm kind of struggling with this a little bit because it seems like Ivywood is a I guess a county maintained road. So I mean we should be able to connect a driveway to it. I understand the applicants like their frustration about it, that it all of a sudden does make this feel like it's part of their neighborhood. And it looks like there's some nice shrubs and hedges that have to be cut down. I guess this would be an engineering question. Could they connect the driveway to Old Andes Road and have it'd have to be an easement over their other lot, but would that be?
I think our only request was that wherever the driveway was relocated to, that it had adequate sight distance. It does not have adequate sight distance in the current location. And when we're signing a plat, that's one thing they have to conform to the regulations whenever they start subdividing.
Have you guys, the applicant, have you explored that at all?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Have you explored connecting the driveway to Old Andes Road?
Yes. As I mentioned, the applicant would prefer not to even relocate the driveway whatsoever, but it is a dangerous situation. And going over, like I said, we are just concerned with the where the house is, and we don't really know what the future development exactly is going to be on the big piece. So right now, the most feasible location would be as close to the house as possible, which would be on Ivywood. But we're more than willing to look at what other options could be. But right now, like I said, we're just cutting out the corner lot, so there's no physical property access to Andes Road with our current,
I mean, like I said, I think that if there were no other options, it would, I think, make sense and it could be justified to connect it to Ivywood. I'm just, if there is another option, if, even, and obviously the residents of Ivywood are going to be affected by whatever's built to that extent. It's going to change. I don't know. I mean, it seems like at some point it would be possible to connect the driveway for this house to whatever infrastructure is put in for the future development. I don't know if that would make people happy.
Well, if I may interject, sorry, I know Commissioner Heber has.
You're fine.
If you go to Exhibit B, Commissioner Anderson, you'll see where they've put a public right-of-way street. So you could probably go in between lots 14 and 15. It looks short, and that would be better than going over to Old Andes because that would not cut through 4 lots.
Right, except that at this point, that doesn't exist.
Yeah, I know.
Right? But it would, I mean, for the time being, it could connect to Old Andes. and then it could always be relocated. Again, I'm not saying that that has to be, I'm just wondering if that would be palatable to you.
I mean, we're certainly willing to look at any option because, like I said, the current driveway is obviously unsafe. But as of right now, we don't know. There is no concrete plans on what's going to happen on the rest of the property. So we're just trying to explore the most feasible option as of right now, you know, how the land lays and the property is.
I think the question might go to engineering, though. I mean, would you have a problem with them connecting to Old Andes?
We wouldn't, but our concern is, we don't want to sign this plat until the driveway's relocated. That right-of-way doesn't exist, so the only option today is to connect to Ivywood.
Could still connect across those, right?
May I speak?
I believe that would be an option if they chose to do that, yes.
And then when it comes back, then they redo the.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think, I'm not.
Your mic's not on.
I'm not trying to create an issue. I think you could, for all intents and purposes, do it to Ivywood, and we could justify that. I'm just, if there's a happy medium, that's all I'm.
And we'll, in just a moment, Ms. Murphy, we'll let you speak. We're just talking at commission for a moment. Commissioner Gill.
Yeah, I'm in that mood. So I hear what Commissioner Anderson is saying, but I want to take maybe an opposite approach on this, is that's a public road. Ivywood Lane is a public road that property owner pays taxes to maintain to this county government. And what we're saying is that, yeah, you pay taxes to maintain it. That's not a private road that the HOA pays for. If it was a private road that the HOA paid for, then I would understand saying, please don't connect to my road. That's the road I pay for and maintain. But that's a county road. So they don't pay for the upkeep of that road by themselves. The county pays for the upkeep of that road through property taxes levied against that property owner who has just as much frontage on that road as they do on Andy's Road. Rather than going through a rigmarole of platting something that we don't even know where it goes yet, or potentially impacting the development of another plat that's owned by someone else, it seems logical to me. This is a wide road. It's flat at that section. I'm looking at Street View. It's completely flat. It has the sight distance it needs, and it's a publicly owned road. If this was in a different location, we wouldn't say, you can't use a road just because somebody doesn't like that you have a driveway. I feel like they have equal access to a road. That is the most straightforward solution that could be made today. And rather than going through this whole process to try to define a different driveway, I feel like the property owner has the right to access a public road. That's
Thank you, Commissioner Gill.
my feeling.
I don't disagree 100% with you. I was trying to take the nice page for once. And so, but by all means, I will second your motion.
Commissioner Biggs, did you have any comments, or?
Did until I was persuaded otherwise by Commissioner Gill.
Very good. Ms. Murphy, did you have any last comments? I think we're going to take it to the vote.
Yes, I do. I know, I've seen your website, and I know that there is a further plan for development in this area. I think it is very premature to make a lot of changes until the entire plan is known to the entire public. And I think that's scheduled to be sometime in July. So I really pray that you guys would not allow this driveway to be cut at this time until the entire plan is seen.
Thank you for your comments. And thank you for coming down. All right. So, so we have the development plan for, to subdivide 36,000 square feet, approve the development plan for 2 detached residential lots, subject to 6 conditions. Commissioner Gill.
I'm going to make a motion to approve the development plan for up to 2 detached residential lots, subject to the 6 stated conditions.
We have a motion to approve the development plan for 2 detached dwelling lots with the 6 conditions by Commissioner Gill, seconded by Commissioner Anderson. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. All right, so the agenda is a little bit incorrect, where we will not be looking at item number 30 yet. We're going to go ahead and conclude the monthly meeting now. If I could, somebody make a motion to close the meeting. Okay, we have a motion and a second to close the meeting by Commissioner Barger and Commissioner Anderson. So the June meeting is now closed. We are now moving on quickly to the yearly Planning Commission meeting, which Director Brooks will give us a quick update, and I think we have one other matter past that.
Okay, thank you, Chairman Huber. So now we are in our annual meeting. And today I'm going to share a brief presentation of what the Planning Commission and staff have been working on over the last year. The Commission has reviewed 515 cases this year. These numbers are down from last year's total of 588. You all can see the breakdown on the screen there. So this is just a snapshot of some of the development activity that we saw throughout the county last year. This topic, as I mentioned during an agenda review, is going to be reported more extensively in our development activity report, which was recently released, and it's on our website and will be presented to you at the July agenda review meeting. So as you all are well aware, the process to update Knox County's regulatory documents and implementation tools continues as we continue to work towards a full draft of the new Unified Development Ordinance, which will include a zoning code, a new zoning code for the county, some street standards, our subdivision regulations, the building code, and stormwater regulations will all be rolled into one cohesive document. This is really the next phase of the county's comprehensive land use and transportation plan. It is the actual implementation of that plan. The technical and community advisory committees have been meeting, and public meetings have been held throughout the year to gather feedback on the draft document and the map, and County Commission has been kept in the loop along the way. Multiple surveys have also been released to gather feedback on specific elements of the code. This group will receive your next update on this project on June 30th, and we are hoping to have a final document by the end of this year. So what's next, Knoxville? So since kicking off this project earlier this spring, we've set up a project website. We've held 8 listening sessions. We've attended many events and other meetings, including neighborhood meetings, presentations to groups and organizations. Our staff has attended community events like the Children's Festival of Reading, Hollaroo, the Outlandish Festival, and many more. We currently have a survey open through the end of this month and have actually I think we're over 1,000 responses to date, which is great for where we are in this project. We now have a project headquarters on Market Square, and if you all haven't been down there, please stop by. Our staff and our consultants have spent a lot of time making that a very inviting space, and we will keep that open throughout the project. So far, I think we've spent over 40 hours in that space. Again, so a lot of time has been spent in a short amount. Since we just started this project, a lot of effort has gone into outreach and engagement, and will continue throughout the process. So just like the UDO, this is really a once in a generation opportunity for a project like this, and our staff, as you can tell, have spent a lot of time. A lot of time's been dedicated to this. So after this round of outreach wraps up at the end of the month, we'll share what we've heard over the summer, and we'll be back out in the community for another round of community engagement in the fall. Our transportation group wrapped up several projects over the past year. This group, and I will say, so it says our transportation staff, but these projects included staff across our agency. So this group supported the City of Knoxville and their comprehensive climate action plan. It's called Breathe. That was submitted to EPA last year as a final deliverable for the Climate Pollution Reduction Grant program for the Knoxville, for the entire region, for our metropolitan statistical area. They also worked with the city and CAT to finish a transit supportive development study. that looked at aligning land use, housing, and mobility planning with economic development and transit investments along our primary corridors. This work done for the study is being considered as part of our comprehensive plan, as well as other plans that have been done for the city in recent years. Finally, we have updated an interactive crash dashboard that allows users to look at crash data back to 2015. As part of this work, our staff also created a pedestrian and bicycle crash facts report that highlights the trends and specific types of crashes. This is all available on our website. So this is as of April 30th, 2026. So this is just a snapshot of where we are. The state and federal grants referenced here are administered as a reminder by our transportation group, and the majority of these dollars are reallocated to specific projects throughout the region. Some of this also reflects the BREATHE, the Climate Action Plan work, and our priority investment area work, the work that we did with CAT in the city over this past year. So as with most organizations, our employees are our greatest asset. They're also our largest investment. As you can see in those colors are a little harder to distinguish up there, but that's the 87% that you see up there. Again, this is as of April 30th, so I don't have it through the end of May yet. Contracted services include legal services, our public notices, equipment, data storage, software licensing. Supplies and materials include things like food that we order for meetings like this, computer equipment, office supplies, and our agency vehicles. Other charges include our space costs. We do pay for the space that we use in this building. We also pay for financial and central services that are provided through Knox County. So we strive to be good stewards of our funds, and as a result, I think that I can happily say that we remain in good financial standing as we head into this new fiscal year. And with that, anybody have any questions? Okay, well then I'll turn it over to you all for an election of officers.
Yeah, real quick, we didn't get the chance because some of the folks were here for the Tuesday meeting, but I wanted to welcome Commissioner Habibi again. And for those of you who were not here for the pre-agenda, he's going to be one of our new planning commissioners. He's up. He's not quite able, since he's not approved at the state yet, able to make comments or vote on anything, but he's certainly welcome to, ingrain into how we do things here. Appreciate you taking the time. So wanted to say that. Welcome aboard. Right. So a couple of months ago, I had nominated 3 commissioners to look at the planning chair and the vice chair, 2 of which aren't here today. Only one is. But they did put a motion forth to nominate me as the chair and Commissioner Levinson as the vice chair. And I guess it's up for a vote. So I'll look to the commission for that.
Do we need to make another motion or?
Make a motion to, however you would word that, motion John Huber and as chair and Rich Levinson as vice chair.
I move to nominate John Huber as chair and Richard Levinson as vice chair for years 2026, 2027 term.
Okay. That's right. Last motion on the last thing on the way out. Great. Well, we have a motion by Commissioner Anderson for John Huber to be chair and Rich Levinson to be vice chair for 26 to 27, seconded by Commissioner Boyer. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Thank you. The ayes have it. And we are adjourned.
Can I say something to
Thank
all of you just one quick second?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Just really quickly, to Director Brooks, to our chairman, to our council, and to all of you, the staff, it's just been great. 8 years is a really long time to, even in dog years, to dedicate to somebody. But this has been rewarding as well as educational. It doesn't matter what kind of law degree you have, you are learning all the time, and life is changing all the time. And there's so much that this group is doing, but it's the give and take, it's the back and forth, it's these 2 switching sides on me right at the end. It's just from,
it was a short meeting.
It was. But I've just learned from so many of you and gotten so many great perspectives, and it's just, it's been an honor to serve beside all of you, whether for short or long. And I know your dad. We have to talk. So anyway, just it was an honor. I just wanted, before we left, I just wanted to say thank you to each.
Well, thank you again. No, thank you. Thank you so much. Well, very good. Well, I'm sure we'll be seeing you around very much.